Hey everybody, welcome to Example of Play. Today I'm playing the newest DLC for Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. It is the Battle Pack 2, which adds a bunch of three new campaigns and a bunch of new scenarios and maps for Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. This is a game that came out like 13, 14 years ago, but it's still getting some new content every once in a while. And if you are a die-hard fan of the series, this is definitely one you should check out because it adds a lot of interesting new campaigns and scenarios. This is what I'm dubbing my example of play videos that I've started kind of doing a concept of where instead of doing a long playthrough of a game or one scenario, I want to kind of give you some highlights, some examples of play, if you will, of kind of what makes the game interesting and fun and hits the highlights and offers some different parts of the game that make it worth checking out without you having to watch me play a game for 2 hours at a time. I want to just kind of give you some cool bits and pieces. So in these videos, I'm gonna kind of show something and then jump ahead a bit, and then jump ahead some more, so you kind of get more bang for your buck for your time. With that said, let's check out the first mission in the one of the campaigns that comes with the Battle Pack 2, which I should say, kind of caveat up front. To play this DLC, it's just scenarios. There's not any new vehicles or units. I think there's some new skins for some of the infantry and stuff to add a little flavor, but there's not anything actually new in terms of units, but it's just new scenarios and new campaigns, kind of filling in the gaps of things they didn't cover in the original modules. And so to play it, you pretty much have to have all the other DLC, the Commonwealth, Market Garden, and the Vehicle Pack. I think you have to have all of those to actually play this one. So it's kind of for the diehard fans that are still out there that want just more content. But it's really good stuff, it seems like, from what I've played so far. This campaign is called We'll Start Here, and it's focused on the invasion at Utah Beach. But it's a neat concept for the campaign. You play some airborne missions and the seaborne forces as well, and then kind of how you do in the airborne missions makes your seaborne through your normal infantry. It makes their missions a little easier. And then as the campaign, the way it's described, it's linear as it goes. But what you do in one mission can make other missions easier. So this first mission is about the Pathfinders, and just kind of give you an idea here. This is all I've got for my units. Is just basically two small squads of paratroopers with nothing but rifles and carbines and a few Thompsons, and we're trying to make our way across this map in the dead of night to set up the Eureka devices over here to guide in the other airborne troops coming later. So this is a kind of a cool concept for a map. Rather than fighting our way across the map, the goal is to sneak our way over there and avoid contact with the Germans. We don't get any points for fighting the Germans. We only get points for accomplishing our objectives, which we need like 4 units over here to get all the occupy objectives, and then we need to touch all these light points to get those points as well. So kind of an interesting starting scenario, and just kind of highlighting. I found the first German unit right here is these guys in this Kuba wagon that are conveniently facing the road rather than my guys who are over here and noticed them. So to get out of here, so I have these small covered arcs set so that my guys aren't going to shoot at them unless they're within this yellow circle. So to get out of this, I actually had to have these guys crawl up here rather than moving too quickly, or they got spotted. Which is definitely not something you usually do in a combat mission scenario of, oh yeah, we're going to sneak past these guys. So that was kind of interesting. I will save you the 20 or so minutes it took for me to creep all the way across this map, and we'll jump to the next part. All right, so without doing spoilers, I won't tell you how I got across the map, but I actually got all the way across the map without encountering any enemies, but burning up a lot of time. So we only have 16 minutes left on the mission to move in and secure these objectives. I got the whole team right here. They're kind of walking right now to be quiet. And check it out, we ran into a German patrol coming down the road. This is basically unavoidable firefight here. I thought about moving through these fields, but then I was worried that I was thinking there's got to be some Germans guarding this area. So the mission is to not fight with them, but this seems like kind of an unavoidable situation that we've run into. So we'll just let it play out. I'm going to take the targeting arcs off and let our guys just see what happens. The first time I played this, it went pretty well for us. So we'll see. I'm playing in real time just to make it a little easier to record than doing turn by turn. So let's see what happens here. A little action for you.
Hold your fire! Hold firing!
Alright, so our guys spotted the Germans first. Our paratroopers are, of course, all veteran or crack experience level. And, oh, so yeah, a whole German squad was coming through here. Ran right into the teeth of our paratroopers, who are just chewing them up. With it being so dark, we can't see them too well once they run away. So even though we kind of got the advantage right here, my guys are going to have to move up at some point in the darkness to try to get on them. But we inflicted a bunch of casualties right there real quick without, I don't think we took any hits. So having the superior trained infantry definitely helps right here, and catching them before they caught us. And then I will, looks like it's kind of quieted down. We'll jump ahead a little bit so we can see some more stuff, and we'll see what happens. All right, so now we moved up a few minutes. I've got our teams out in here. We're encountering some Germans in the dark still. We've got 8 minutes left. Those transports are on the way with our buddies, and we got a lot of Germans moving through the area. Pause it for a second. So we've got one firefight over here out in this open field. It looks like we've got the advantage there. We kind of heard the Germans moving. You get these little markers that you can hear them but not see them. Looks like we're cleaning up there. And then here, some Germans were coming down the road. So the way the AI works in combat mission is it's not the best. So I don't know if maybe if I hid, if these guys would have just like kept running down the road and never seen us. But this objective is a security post. So I set up a decent sized team here to hold this corner, and yeah, they've caught these Germans right in the flank as they come by. So we might be wiping them out too. There's a lot of Germans in there. Yeah, it looks like they are breaking. They probably could have overwhelmed us if they'd caught us at a better angle, but we caught them in the flank. Like maybe we took, not even one casualty. Yeah, those Pathfinders are cleaning up right there. And then over here, looks like we still got a little movement. We're kind of pressed for time, so we do have to keep moving. I'm going to use the hunt command. So my guys move up cautiously, and hopefully we have the advantage in training and firepower for any enemies that do get spotted. And I got to get all the objectives. Just pause it for a second. So there's a security post. There's 2 security posts, one at each end of this field, and then the 2 Eureka points that they need to be occupied when we run out of time. So I need guys actually on them. And then these lights, I just need to touch. So I probably gonna have to send one of these teams or a couple of them to try to go touch those objectives real quick to get those lights set up. That German squad that was running down the road looks like they are totally broken and scattered. So I'll probably leave the headquarters team here since they're a little bit bigger to hold this corner, and send this observer team running across the field to go touch that light. And then maybe they'll circle back for those. And then over here, I need to hold this one, but I think I need the numbers to go. It looks like there could be a decent amount of Germans over here. If we can clear them out, then we can send one team back and then send the rest up to take this point and the security post. And it, yeah, definitely creates getting across the map. I didn't run into any trouble, but I kind of took my time to keep quiet instead of having my guys just run. They walked some, and that ate up a lot of time. So kind of an interesting balance in this mission of being sneaky, being pressed for time, not wanting to engage the Germans, but here at the end they're kind of swarming all over the objectives, so not much choice but to fight with them. I'm gonna have these guys get up, use the hunt command, so they're moving slowly. There's at least a couple of Germans still out here. When you use the hunt command, they kind of move up cautiously and then they stop if they get engaged. Just don't want them to run into too big of a mess of enemies, but I do want them to keep moving. And these German soldiers are just running around in the dark. Yeah, let's see what these guys keep them moving up also. For a little explosion. Probably just them throwing a grenade. Alright, I'm gonna send these guys, take that light. We only have about 6 minutes left. And some missions have a hard timer and some do not. One more German right there hiding. These guys haven't spotted anything yet. Gonna have them run across. There's a little gap in the hedgerow right there. They can hop in there and take that objective. And then these guys can start heading this way. There might still be a German soldier right here. We're still kind of maybe getting some markers. But if it's just one guy in the woods, not too worried about that. Alright, these guys don't see anything, so I'm going to have them just kind of slip out there. And then these guys are going to go for that light. Well, actually, I'll have them move up to the hedgerow and check it out before they run across that field. And these guys head for this light, which I know some Germans came through here, but I think they're all scattered down here. Alright, and then we need a decent sized little force to send up to the security post 2, since I don't know what's at that end of the field. And we'll send these guys to help at light 1 just in case. Right now, oh, yeah, I need this squad. We need to have guys sitting on the Eureka and security post spots at the end of the map, or else we won't get credit for those objectives. Okay, this one looks clear. And we just need to get light 2 over here, which could be iffy if there's still a German squad lingering. I would split off a couple guys from this one, but they're already too small of a element to split off another unit. And we got 3.5 minutes left. That's enough time to move a little cautiously on that point. And then trying to see where... One thing I appreciate of this map is that there are way more gaps in the hedgerows for the infantry to move through. One of the big complaints, something I remember from the original Battle for Normandy maps, was that a lot of times you had hedgerows that were just totally impassable, and there'd be just the occasional spot that even infantry could get through them, which was really annoying. You had to like blow up gaps in it, which might have been semi-realistic, but from the books I read, a lot of times the infantry would climb right over the hedgerows if they had to. And so it was a little frustrating when there were a lot of maps where you could not get past the hedgerows. They were just like this impossible wall. All right, so it looks like this is going good. I'm going to cut it here so you don't watch. Well, it's 2 more minutes. You think we get this? We just need to get light 2 and security post 2. Seems quiet up there. Question will be, are there any lingering Germans right here? Or are we going to slip into this spot as well? And there's a nice gap right there. We're going to cut it real close. Got a 1.5 minutes left, but looks like security post 2 is clear. And we got plenty of guys to occupy it. And these guys are just going to make a mad dash. Almost never used fast, but we'll use it here. Get them on this point. I got to set up that one little light. They can hear the transports. Those C-47s are coming. They got to get this light down. Nice. Okay, so we've got... Put these guys right in the middle just to make sure they're on the objective. Security post 1 is occupied. Eureka 1 is occupied. Eureka 2 is occupied. And security post 2. And we've hit all the lights. So I think we have actually got through this mission and accomplished all the objectives. We ignored that part about avoiding engagements with the Germans, and we did wipe out a couple squads in the dark, 2 or 3 squads worth, while securing all the objectives. So pretty good. And I don't think we had any casualties, none that I saw. We'll check it out on the scoreboard here in a second. We'll let it play out. Yeah, this is a pretty solid first mission for this scenario, for this campaign. I love the idea of this campaign, and so it's like, yeah, since if I'm successful here in the next mission, like all my airborne troops will land closer together because we got the Pathfinders succeeded in their mission, which is cool. I love any kind of campaign with dynamic elements to it where doing well on one map carries forward to the next. And I think a lot of these guys will be in future scenarios. All right, so we picked up tactical victory, which, I mean, come on. No casualties, secured all of our objectives. The Germans got friendly bonus. I don't know what that is. I guess just a scoring thing. Yeah, we succeeded without any casualties, and we inflicted, what, like 40 casualties on them, or close to it. So pretty good. We'll see. Let's jump to the next scenario and see what it looks like. So now we're in the second scenario, and you might be thinking this looks really familiar. And that's because, yeah, this is actually the same map, and these are my Pathfinders, but the map is now extended out and giving us our next objective, which is to take, I'm going to pronounce it Highville? Probably wrong. We'll go with that. Our objective here is this is shortly after the last mission ended, and the paratroopers are about to start landing. And our objective is to gather up as many forces as we can and go take this town and the whole surrounding area. So it's kind of one big objectives area here, or at least it looks like it. Yeah, pretty nice little town. Got the church steeple, roads and yards and farms, and that should make for some interesting tactical maneuvers. But I don't know where my airborne troops are going to land. None are on the map at the start, and the briefing makes clear that, you know, no matter what you do, some of them are going to land isolated, and it's going to be tough for them to get anything done. So the job is to put what you got together and make a good assault on that town. And there's actually another little town there and a bigger town over here, but those are not part of our objective. We are just trying to take Highville there. So I'll jump ahead a bit. We'll see who shows up and how it goes. Now, this is interesting. These are my Pathfinders. We're moving up on the town. Haven't seen anything yet, but a few minutes into the mission, our other airborne troops show up, or at least, I don't know if there's going to be multiple waves, but the first big wave shows up. And yeah, even though I had total success in the last mission, which said that they would land more concentrated. I don't know if that means we got more concentrated than they would be, or there's more on this map and not, dropping off map. But they are pretty scattered. Each of these units is like one element of like 3 to 5 guys, and they're scattered all over the place. Some of them are way over there. Our objective is here. Totally realistic for the battle, and makes for some interesting gameplay. Gameplay having this huge map with all this complex terrain, and my objective is here, and none of my guys even dropped on the other side. They're all on this side, scattered all over the map. So I'll have to try to get together as many of them as I can. Um, One thing on this in this scenario, it specifically mentions that killing German troops does not get you any objective points. The only objective is to take the town. But basically, all the forces on the map are core campaign units. So for the Americans and the Germans, so that even though you're not getting points for it, it's kind of an intrinsic value of the more German units I can find and defeat while I'm accomplishing the objective, the better, because those are units we won't have to fight in later scenarios. Because this whole campaign is just taking place over basically like D-Day itself. This isn't like a campaign portraying days or weeks of combat. This is all these missions are tied together and are like the actual invasion at Utah beach, the beach, and the airborne landings behind it. So any German units who we're fighting now and defeat are ones that we won't have to fight later in the day, later in this campaign. So I'll try to knock them out where I can. Um, it's kind of cool to think about, yeah, if we can get some good ambushes or, some good tactical maneuvers, we might wipe out a couple German squads that we won't have to fight later, or we can choose to avoid them, preserve our own forces, and focus on the objective. I don't have to fight them if I spot them and they don't spot me, or I can disengage. But in some of these cases where the airborne troopers landed, they're not going to have a chance. They're like this poor little bazooka team landed right next to a German trench. It looks like there's some kind of cannon there, probably like an anti-aircraft gun. And yeah, I don't think they have any chance of getting out of that. Another one, I noticed these guys are a little half of a squad, but they've landed right behind a big German patrol, but they have the Germans on the run. So, maybe they can throw down some casualties and slip away into the darkness, or link up with these other guys and try to finish those Germans off. That would be interesting. This is a really cool map because, yeah, you're dealing with, instead of one group of forces, um, there's a couple dozen potential tactical maneuvers that you could do here, just trying to get these guys together, fighting any Germans they meet on the way, and accomplishing the primary objective. This map is definitely an interesting one, and it's got a 2-hour timer, so you do have time to explore all your options. I'm curious about these guys. They're all the way over here. Could they even make their way across the whole map safely? It'll take them an hour just to get over there. But anyway, I'll jump ahead a bit and see what I can accomplish, because this will definitely be a slow one to play through carefully. But just for fun, let's see what happens here. These guys, I got 5 soldiers, 1 Tommy gun, rifleman. How many of these Germans can they take out that they've seemed to have landed behind and got the drop on them? They can definitely throw down some firepower, but they might want to get out of there if the Germans recover. Do we have an escape plan? There's no gaps in the hedgerows close to them. They might just have to run back down this road around the corner, and then try to find their way out. But let's see what plays out here for a few seconds.
Watch out!
Enemy cruiser.
Hit the dirt!
Alright, so they did inflict, looked like maybe a half dozen casualties, but now they need to get out of there because those Germans are going to start shooting back, and they're going to be outnumbered for sure. So we'll have them run down the road around this corner. We can get a good waypoint. Yeah, probably have them just run back that way, hide around that corner, and go from there. But I've got to tend to them. Got these guys are in kind of a different but similar situation. They've got some Germans that look like they ambushed, but now they're stuck out in an open field where really the move is to move, yeah, probably away. And then our poor little bazooka team, yeah, they're already gone. Those guys did not have a chance. Nothing I could do for them. All right, I'll play for a bit and then jump ahead so we see what happens next. Now we've jumped forward about 20 minutes on the game clock. Another wave of paratroopers did land about 5 minutes later. So I don't know if we should expect any more, but there are plenty on the map now. Just giving you kind of the big picture here. And remember, each of those, for the most part, is representing like 3 to 5 guys. But of course, yeah, there are a couple full squads out there too. My plan right now was to gather up the scattered paratroopers where I could, form them into little groups, and then move together towards objectives, which seems realistic enough. Of course, there were some casualties. Some of them just landed in bad spots, and then a couple got caught out because we're running around in the dark. And as you can see from all the German markers, we don't quite know where most of the enemies are, but they are scattered all over the place. We've got kind of our core force here with the Pathfinders. They've moved up. They haven't run into any resistance so far. They're on the edge of the village here, poised to move up and attack. They also had some other troopers that joined them, and then there's some more kind of lagging behind back here. And then over here we have another element that they've got some machine guns and mortars that they've grouped up here to attack from this angle. Over on this side, kind of a smaller force, probably just about a squad, like a reinforced squad worth of guys. But they're going to approach from this side. And then I'm kind of role-playing it a little bit, imagining all these different guys, what they would be doing. Maybe they know exactly which way to go, maybe they don't. But here, I know there's like an anti-aircraft gun here, probably. These guys, I'm scared to move because they're just stuck out in the open. I think if they move, they might get gunned down, so they're just kind of waiting to see what happens. But lucky for them, there's kind of a group of stragglers over here that have made it this far. Plan is to get them across that field, and if they can get close right here, we might be able to ambush this anti-aircraft gun and take it out. The briefing kind of mentions that the designer, he wished he could make the anti-aircraft guns fire into the sky randomly, like they're shooting at aircraft in the sky, but it's not possible with the game engine. So some of the drops were just to sort of reveal where those positions are. So I like to imagine, yeah, these guys, they see this anti-aircraft gun firing, they've grouped up, they're going to go attack it. And then over here, there's a few groups of stragglers. They landed really far from the objective. They hear kind of the same thing. There might be an anti-aircraft gun there. But this Holdy, this little hamlet, it's at sort of a crossroads, so it kind of would make sense to me that they hear a bunch of shooting here because several little teams dropped in here and got wiped out. So they hear there's a bunch of shooting here. They know they're pretty far from their main objective. So just by happenstance, they're approaching from 3 different directions, and they're going to try to attack and see if there's an anti-aircraft gun here to take out, or just wipe out the Germans that are here. And then, meanwhile, the main assault is about to go in. But I'm gonna, let's see, there was like a sniper in this house shooting down the road at these guys, so they decided, yeah, they're gonna go take him out. They snuck down. Let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, that's a lot of firepower. Germans did drop some artillery on some of my guys, so I do need to keep moving, because even in the dark, I guess they're throwing up some shells occasionally. But yeah, these guys, they're going to see if they can break into this town and attack the German garrison here. But like I said, this is a pretty cool scenario because you've got kind of wide open how you want to play it. You can have all your guys just go for the main objective. You can have your guys you can be roaming around to try to wipe out every German you can find on the map, so you don't have to fight them later. Or like I'm doing, kind of role playing it a little bit. Like, what would these guys do if they were in this scenario? They might know which direction they need to go. They might not. But presumably, if they hear some shooting over here, they know there's some Germans. They might try to go take them out. So that's what these guys are doing. I'll play it a little bit more, and we'll jump ahead, see how the main assault goes in a bit. Jumping in a little while later here, more airborne troops keep arriving. Some are appeared on the edge of the map, like they're walking into this area, and then some just parachuted in, I guess. Some late transports arriving, dropping guys. And unfortunately for some of them, they actually landed like right in the objective area here. These poor guys landed in this open field. Didn't have a chance, but they did reveal a lot of the German positions here in the town. They all opened up on them. And so now we know there's a bunch of foxholes here. There is a machine gun team in the church steeple. There is an anti-aircraft gun right here. And lucky for me, I've been moving up my guys this whole time onto the edge of the village. Not meeting a lot of resistance, but knowing there's got to be some heavy Germans in that town. And so now we've got these guys here on the edge that see all these targets, or at least some of them. They'll be able to start opening up on them. So it's going to get a little feisty here. And then I got a couple little tactical situations going on besides the main battle is going to be over here. But I've got these guys here. I've got some more reinforcements arrived. Another team. I was waiting for this little squad to get over here, but a mortar team, they parachuted in, I guess, right here. So it's probably about to get hot right there. The fight over here in Holdy here, we've kind of pushed into the town a little, took out a couple teams of Germans, but I don't know, it's going to be kind of tough getting in there without any heavy weapons to hit those buildings, but we do have quite a few scattered infantry squads out there that'll move in. Once they get a little closer, we can converge on that and try to wipe out that garrison. And then we got scattered guys out here that I'm trying to group up and bring in. Though there's probably a couple isolated Germans out there still. I'm not really worried about finding them, mostly worried about just massing my forces to attack this town. So got an hour and 15 left, so plenty of time, and we're closing in on them. But yeah, actually right here in the town. It seems a little gamey, but this one squad landed right here, like right there. I immediately gave them an order to run to this building, but only one guy made it. And now he's hiding, just hanging out right there, and the Germans have lost sight of him. And so he's able to see a few of their positions, so that'll help us out. Looks like, and then these guys landed here. They're hiding too. Possibly another anti-aircraft gun right there. Alright, so let's play this out for a second, see how this battle goes. I don't have a lot of guys in position to hit this gun just yet. I have some here. They could move over. These guys have opened up on it though. So we'll see how this goes for a minute. Got this team moving up to provide a little more fire support. There's some mortars firing. I'm not sure if it's one of my teams or them. I'm afraid these guys are gonna get overmatched if they shoot too much, but they're in a pretty good position to keep that anti-aircraft gun pinned down. So we'll bring up some more guys to help them. I'll pause it for a second. Bringing up another machine gun team right there to help them. See if we can get these mortars where they have sight line on the town from right there and start hitting them. And then, since it doesn't seem like there's any Germans in this little field, we're gonna be aggressive and push across it. Another machine gun team. And these infantry here. And then while those guys are moving up, over here we got a nice line of guys on this hedgerow. Had to take out a few Germans. There's probably like one guy over here we haven't quite tracked down, but we're gonna have to get a little aggressive, start moving up. Might have, it's kind of tricky here moving across these open fields when you don't know what's out there. But we're gonna have this little team try to bust in there, and they got plenty of covering fire. And then move one team into those woods. They already took out a little German squad there, but there could be more. And we'll send this team also. A little cross assault right there. These guys are on their way. Those guys are on their way. Oh, and over here. Yeah, I was afraid of that. That mortar team got spotted. They didn't have a hope, but they do have this rifle team behind them. My guys got here just in time. We're hitting them from two directions. But there's some Germans over there in that building too. We want to knock out that anti-aircraft gun, because if it starts really firing, we'll be done skied. If we take it out, that's perfect. Playing in real-time mode does make it a little tricky when you got multiple things going on, because you can only really watch one at a time. But I feel like, playing this scenario in turn-based would take forever, because I'd be very tempted to constantly micromanage everything. Alright, these guys are they're paratroopers, they're just gonna have to go for it. They will see if they can spot that anti-aircraft gun right there and start firing at it. These guys are probably a little too tired to... Actually, they've just been walking this whole time. Alright, so over here, our assault on this building. Kind of as expected. We did take a casualty, but... got a lot of covering fire. We forced our way in there, so yeah. Took one casualty, unfortunate, but we were able to push into those buildings and take out a couple German squads. Right now, with the battle fully engaged, I'll give you just a little taste of it. And I'm gonna jump ahead a bit, try to get to the end of the scenario, because I want to see the next scenario, see if it's Utah Beach, squeeze it into this video. So we'll let the battle play out a little bit, and then we'll see how it concludes here in a few minutes. Hop ahead a few minutes here, and this has turned into quite the firefight, as I've got a good line of troops here. But as you can see, basically this is like an entire German mortar platoon is dug in right here, and it is turning into quite the fight. We've got mortars flying out of there. There's some big shells landing from somewhere, and they seem to be pretty erratic. I'm not sure what those are, but they're landing kind of all over the place. And then the mortars coming at our guys were pretty deadly for a second, but then we got enough suppressing fire on them to pin them down for the most part. There's a machine gun in this church tower that we can't seem to knock out, but it's pinned down for now. And then my mortar team, they ran off ammo. I sent them over to this mortar team, but it turned out this was actually an 81 millimeter mortar ammo team. And so the only 81 millimeter mortar I have is all the way over there. So I'm trying to get them into radio contact so that we can call in the artillery, call in those 81s on this area right here. Seems to be the heaviest concentration is these buildings, and then probably these buildings. There's a few Germans out here, but we're overwhelming them. We've got a lot of guys moving up. They're trying to kind of balance speed and aggression with not running into too many ambushes with this really dense terrain right here, lots of places for cover, especially at night. But if I can get them up in here, then they could bring their firepower in, and we can really shift the tide here and hopefully overwhelm the German defenders here in Highville. There was another anti-aircraft gun here. I think we knocked it out, but I'm not sure. I dropped some mortars on it. This team, they've still got some ammo, but they're not really in a good spot to hit any of those Germans over there. And then we've got some enemies still close range here, like mortar shells or some kind of big shells landing on them from somewhere. It's really just kind of chaos at the moment, so I was gonna jump in and let you see that as it plays out a bit. Taking hits from those mortars. There's nothing we can do about it but to attack at them, keep them pinned down. But when you've got a whole mortar platoon able to just direct fire at your guys, like that's tough. Let's see if this headquarters team. I'm not sure what's the problem, because out here I've got these guys have a radio, but they might be a different unit or something is causing the problem. So I've got the 81mm mortar here, and it's set up, and it's right next to this one. This one's in contact, but this one is not. And I think it might be because they're not in the same company. It's throwing them off. I feel like they should be able to call that in anyway. That's a little irritating, and to have those guys lug the mortar all the way up here would take forever. So we'll have to do without that for the moment. Might be able to figure it out later. And oh, I do not know what those guys are doing. They got a misclick or something. That's unfortunate. I don't know where they're going. They'll try to make the best of it and head over this way. Over here, I got lots of guys moving up. Oh, that mortar team probably shouldn't be quite so far forward, but they seem like they made it. At this point, I'm a little guilty of giving some mass orders and not every single unit getting a very specific order, because we've just got so many little teams. If you can get them grouped up, they can reform into their squad, but at this point it's just such a mix of guys that it's kind of hard to accomplish that. This house, no, it doesn't have a good window for our machine gun team. I'm just going to keep them moving up. I got enough of them that I think, combining their firepower with being all veteran and crack troops, that they should be able to just concentrate and wipe out anything they run into. Let's get this mortar team up here. They had to run across the map, but they've caught their breath, so we need to get them in the fight for sure. Bazooka team, I might be able to use them to shoot at the church tower, but I kind of want to save them for future missions, not risk them getting killed here if I can help it. Let's see who else is out here. Some of these guys were running like from all the way over there. They're just lucky if they made it to the battle in time. And then I got a few guys over here trying to maybe slip into the village from this other direction. Though I think they're going to run into too many enemies for them to fight on their own. Might just have to kind of stay here, linger at the edges, do what they can until the main body of troops gets in there. Ooh. Feel sorry for those guys. I don't know how they ended up out there in the middle of that field. And then there's still the little firefight going over there in Holdy. Kind of got not quite enough guys to overwhelm them, so just trying to kind of slowly pick them off. Though we did win that little fight over there against that other anti-aircraft gun. Took a few casualties, but we knocked it out. And then now there's some Germans in those buildings that, I don't know, probably not worth it to try to get them out. Unless we win here and then have time left over. Yeah. Yeah, those mortars just keep firing. At this point, if I try to pull back, that's not going to be any good. Those guys are in any trouble back there. As you can see, it is a hot battle right here. Yeah, it is not looking good. So I'll focus on this and cut back and see how it turns out. That mission, it ends. I kind of fought to a draw at the end. I was worried about taking too many casualties, and my guys actually started running low on ammunition. So I ended up with a tactical defeat. To avoid any spoilers, I won't show you the end scenario screen, so you won't know how many Germans are out there, but we took about equal casualties on each side, and yeah, did okay, but it got a little wild there at the end, and there were just some tough angles in that town towards the end to get at all those machine guns and mortars and everything. It was just very tricky, so I ended up kind of getting fought to a standstill. And I wanted to move on to the next scenario. Not going to play it in this video, but just wanted to take a peek at it. This is the Utah Beach invasion scenario for this campaign. The map is very impressive, as you're about to see, but really in this scenario, it's kind of abstracts away most of the beaches except for the one Uncle Red, where my forces are landing, where we start in the water. And we're going to push up off the beach and into these exits. So let's take a look at it. It is a pretty epic map. It would be wild to see this with the whole thing being played out. I believe there's another scenario for the beach landing that's set further up the beach. So the note said something about, due to the way the editor works, it's kind of hard to like just cut all that out for this scenario. So basically we just have to pretend stuff's going on over there. Though if you're crazy, you could go into the editor and do the entire invasion if you really wanted to. But I think there's plenty right here for us to deal with of getting these guys. This is just the first wave, getting all these guys up off the beach. And there's going to be mines. There's going to be strong points. It's going to be tough. But I'm really liking this campaign so far. I feel like if this had been in the original game module, it would have been my favorite campaign, because if you played, well, the original Battle for Normandy campaigns, I mean, they're pretty good, but they don't really feature any beach landings. And so, of course, everyone, if you're going to have a Normandy game, you kind of want a beach landing scenario, and you don't get that. You get the fights afterwards. So it's cool to get a campaign that combines airborne landings and beach landings, and then the whole thing of as you play through this campaign, the two forces will link up, and the better you do, it's one of those where you can't really lose the campaign. You just keep going whether you win or lose a scenario, but the better you do, it makes the follow-on scenarios a little bit easier. But for right here, we've got a totally different force, totally different situation than the last two maps, and now we are just straight assaulting up off the beach to this crossroads, and then over there to those exits if we can get to them. And there are German units over here, but we are to just kind of ignore them and pretend they're fighting some other guys over there. So if you stuck it out and you enjoyed this video and you want to see the next scenario, like, subscribe, let me know in the comments. I'm trying this like different format of, instead of playing all the way through, which would make for a video like that last scenario was 2 hours long, even if you didn't pause it the whole time, which would be crazy to try to play that without pausing. So instead of making like a 4 or 5 hour video of a playthrough of those missions, I wanted to try to just like jump to different points along the way. So if you like that, let me know. If you think it could be done a little different, let me know. I'm just kind of trying different sorts of videos to see what works and what doesn't. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.